From rock bottom to the bright lights, this is where redemption meets hustle. CEOs, entrepreneurs, creators, and comeback stories. This is real inspiration. Welcome to the GITT Up podcast with your host, Adam Larkin. It's not just a show, it's a movement. Now let's get it. Today's guest is a powerhouse in every sense of the word, a woman who rebuilt her life from the ground up and turned recovery into a mission, a movement, and a legacy. Tara Moseley Hyde has been in long-term recovery since 2011, and today she serves as the CEO of People Advocating Recovery, one of the most impactful recovery organizations in the region. But titles don't tell the full story. What makes Tara remarkable is the way she leads with heart, fire, and lived experience, with the mindset of someone who refuses to settle for anything less than real change. She helped build community spaces, recovery-ready systems, and opportunities for people who felt forgotten. She's a voice for those who don't always get a seat at the table, and she brings both compassion and strength into every room she steps into. Her journey is about resilience, rebuilding identity, and stepping into leadership with purpose. And today, we get to dig deep into the woman behind the mission, the childhood, the hustle, the pain, the growth, and the calling that drives her. Tara, welcome to the GITT Up podcast.
Woo, thank you. What an introduction. Yes. Thank you so much for having me here.
Absolutely. Well, it's cool just to get to sit down and chop it up and, get to introduce all the listeners to all the awesome things that you're doing.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So where are you originally from and where'd you grow up?
So I actually grew up in Bardstown, Kentucky, and I'm from Louisville, but I grew up mainly in Bardstown. So I did move to Louisville when I was 15 and graduated high school from there. But my substance use was pretty much everywhere. So I started using substances at a very early age. So in my middle school years. So
I know drugs don't have a demographic, but being from New York, it seems like New York, Louisville, it's just a lot.
Yeah.
Prevalent.
Yeah. Well, and, nothing. I loved my small town, Bardstown. It's beautiful. If you have never been, highly suggest. It's incredible. The small town, they do have so many festivities, but it's also the bourbon capital of the world, right? Everybody knows this. And, so I was definitely primed for, the state of mind that I was in. And, I'd been through a lot in my life, and my mom was a single parent, and, I'd been through a lot of adverse childhood experiences, and, like I said, I started drinking when I was 8 years old. So, I was just headed down that downward spiral pretty quickly. And I transitioned to Louisville when I was 15, thinking that, living a different life in the inner city would be helpful, and it just wasn't. I took me with me.
Yeah, sometimes us taking ourselves with us isn't the best option.
No.
But we have to.
Right.
There's no alternative.
Yeah.
8, man, that's young.
Yeah.
I was 13 the first time I got blitzed on alcohol. I remember I drank 14 shots in 14 minutes, and they were the White Russians, man. If you even if that was even anywhere near me, even if I did drink, which I don't, I would not go anywhere near it. Just the smell.
Yeah. No. Ugh. That sounds terrible, actually.
Yeah, it was horrible. It's Kahlua vodka and milk. So before addiction ever showed up, what were your early dreams or ambitions?
Funny. I actually wanted to be an attorney. I vividly remember that in my elementary school. And I, had really big dreams and aspirations, because I remember doing, this, what in your second grade or third grade, right? Your teacher asked you, what do you want to be when you grow up? Everybody said Superman or, I had a very realistic dream. I thought, right, I wanted to be an attorney and I wanted to change the world. Crazy enough. That was the vision that I had then.
My old man was a attorney for the union, so that's pretty cool. I actually, he's the one so with the contracts.
Yeah.
My dad's always make sure you read every single thing before you sign it, and if you don't understand it, get consultation on that matter, so that way you do understand it before you sign it. So that's why I'm Even simple stuff, I'm adamant about contracts.
Oh, yeah.
Not trying to get sued doing something good.
Every word, every word. You have to read the fine print.
So, entrepreneurial role models, people, celebrities, public figures, people you knew, admired, learned from growing up.
Growing up?
Yeah.
Ugh. So that's short-lived. I didn't really have many growing up. You know, I'd say that's probably one of the things that my addiction took from me. I didn't have a lot of, you know, I started using so early that I didn't have a lot of aspirations. So I didn't get to experience childhood until I was an adult, until I came into recovery. And I came into recovery at 23. So that's when I really got to like learn about myself, develop some life skills, and experience being a young person, experience going to college, like truly experience just growing up. So at that point, though, you know, it was, you know, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. It was the Mike Berrys of the world. It was, you know, the advocates that never took no for an answer. It was, you know, the people. So, yeah.
Determination, perseverance.
Yeah.
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 I had, like Rocky, man.
Yeah.
Rocky was a good story.
Yeah.
But that's cool. Yeah, I agree. What did addiction look like at its worst, and what was the moment that made you choose a change?
There wasn't really a moment, unfortunately. I wish there were. I ended up homeless, like I said, at 23. So I went to treatment. Well, it wasn't treatment. Scratch that. I went to a homeless shelter at 23. I had experienced some disruptions in my life and was sleeping on couches, couldn't really sustain a residence. So I had nowhere to live, and I had burned every bridge, so I had nowhere to go. And I had heard about this homeless shelter because the catering company that I used to work at, I had worked in every sector imaginable, never been able to hold down a job though, like, you know, further than a couple of months. But the catering company I worked at used to donate food there. So I went there thinking that, you know, I'm going to stay there, clean up, get it together, figure it out, right? Because I heard it was a women's center. And it was there that, like, people just told me that I needed to stay. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, you know, it's just the drugs, alcohol wasn't the problem. And I stayed there, you know, thinking that I was just going to be there for a few months. And I, you know, eventually I started to believe that this life was something greater than just not drinking and not doing, you know, substances. It was something more. There was something more to it. And living this life of wellness and recovery and understanding the inner workings of my mind, because I never stepped back and took a look at, you know, what I had went through and what I was going through and what my life was like and how I ended up here, because no 23-year-old ends up with, you know, being homeless and, you know, multiple DUIs and like lots of, you know, interactions with law enforcement, right? Like normal people don't end up that way, you know? So, you know, you get to that point and you start questioning your life choices, right? And here I was questioning my life choices. And I don't know, probably about 6 months in is when I realized, yeah, I think that there's something to this. And I stayed there for an extended amount of time, truly. And that's probably when I think the decision was made that I was, you know, wanting to stay in recovery and wanting to choose this life of wellness and recovery over, you know, going back into using drugs or substances or drinking or, you know, just like identifying with that with that lifestyle anymore.
23, man. Thank God you got it early, though. That's fantastic.
Oof, yeah.
I didn't catch this thing till 37.
Yeah. I mean, and it's so crazy to me because I think back now and I'm like, man, I could only drink legally for like 2 years. Right. And like, that's mind blowing to me. That was my, that's where I was in my life. But like I had a full drinking career and that's, and that's very sad, obviously. Right. But I mean, that's, also speaks to just like how rampant my addiction was in my life and, the choices that I made, up to that point.
Well, it's also easily justifiable too. Like I go out, there's drinks everywhere. Everybody's drinking. It's legal. It's socially acceptable. So it's like sometimes that can be harder.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. What was the first decision or habit that gave you your confidence and identity back? Like what skills you start using that I'm sure you still use today?
I think the first decision was, the first decision that I made that I knew that I was doing the right thing was to not leave that homeless shelter.
Stay put.
Which I know sounds crazy. Because like, who wants to stay at a homeless shelter versus like going home to my family? Because, sometimes going to some places like, being with my family or being in a place where it isn't necessarily the best place for my recovery. I had to choose my recovery over everything. And so I decided to stay in that homeless shelter because it was going to be either my recovery or it was going to go back to the familiar. And the familiar was what I had done so many times. I had always went back to, living at my parents' house and, the bedroom and the basement or, whatever, and restarting my life over again, right? With another job in another warehouse or another job at a catering place or, over here and another, restaurant, right? Like that was always the cycle. And instead, I did something different. And so that was the decision.
I love it that you say that. I learned too when I got sober first. So I went to Stepworks for like 30 days. Then I went to a sober living, like 20 minutes south for like 3 months. But when I had like 4 months, still all shaky, I'm sober, but I'm still kind of acting like I'm in addiction without drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
So I didn't like learn how to live yet. So I went to this ministry off the grid, which I would have never went to if they told me I couldn't vape, have a phone, smoke, use a computer, all this fun stuff. So it was like God doing for me what I couldn't do for myself. But once I got there in the middle of nowhere in Indiana at another, like, how did you get here? What did you do to your life?
Yeah.
I was just, for once, nothing to even do with recovery. I'm 37. I'm going to be an adult and not bother anybody else so everybody else can sleep at night and stop being selfish and get my life together. So when I leave here, I can be a normal, productive citizen and actually do something with my life. So it's like, you just got to be at that spot where you're done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. That, and then, and I'd say the second decision that I made probably would be, I decided to go back to college. And that was like the trajectory that led to everything.
Right.
To today.
Yeah. Well, me too, right? So that when I got out of that ministry, having a little over a year, I'm like, yo, you need to learn how to do something good like you did in addiction and alcoholism, but with purpose.
Yeah.
I'm like, I started a clothing company.
Yes.
I'm like, instead of selling pounds of weed, now we're selling clothes with an inspirational message.
Yes.
We don't got to get arrested or look over our shoulders or, not be able to sleep at night because, sleep is huge, man. The older I get and the more I work out, I worked out the last 4 days straight, like without missing a beat because I'm trying to get in the best shape I've been in by Christmas. That's the goal.
Good for you.
Getting married in May, so really want to be on point.
There you go.
But yeah, it's like sleep is huge, man.
Huge. Yeah. Well, that's good for your wellness. And look, don't get me started. I'm all about wellness, physical health, mental health, emotional health. Like all of those things are so important. And we don't really realize that, and especially for young people. And I'm a big advocate for young people. We don't spend, and I say we, let me say me. The work that we do at my organization and the work that I try to do focuses a lot on young people because there hasn't been enough focus on young people. There's a huge gap in service delivery for this age population, being like 16 to 25. And I just think that that's because like that's that transitional age group, right? That's the people that are like transitioning from like the high school to the college. And there's like a lot of changes that are happening in that age, right? People are making like decisions in their life. But obviously like there's just so many things that we haven't learned. And I think that's, one of those things again that we were talking about earlier that was robbed from me was that I didn't get to learn some of these, life skills of like taking care of myself, going to the gym or practicing wellness or eating good, right? Like eating, healthy foods and not like binge eating and, sitting on the couch, like just mind numbingly, doom scrolling on, Facebook or TikTok or, any of those wonderful habits that, develop nowadays, anyway.
That show the exact same dopamine and serotonin receptors as alcoholism and drugs do to us.
Exactly, yeah.
And you wonder why, you got an 8-year-old kid like.
Yeah.
And it's turning adults into that too.
Yeah.
It's like, especially being a social media influencer and a content creator, sometimes now I notice I'm sharpest when I literally get away from everything.
Yeah.
Like I went hiking with my brother in North Carolina, Tennessee border, and they barely had Wi-Fi in the cabin we stayed at. You actually had to walk up to like a main lodge to get the internet. Mm-hmm. Best weekend in a long time.
Nice.
Hiked 20 miles in one day. I woke up and I'm like, all right, 20 miles. That's the goal.
That's incredible.
Yeah, we did it. It's just time, right? When do we ever have time just to walk for 8 hours?
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah. Ugh.
So making that time, it was cool because I hit the goal, but just being out in nature, man, the fresh air, and like you're saying, the, get in the truck, right? Mental, physical, and spiritual well-being. That's why I created the clothing company.
Yes.
And it's like you said to me recently, like, yo, take care of you first.
Yes.
And it's like, if I'm not sharp and on point where I need to be mentally, I'm not going to be of maximum value to those around me.
Yeah,
and as
absolutely.
a CEO, that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
So who was the person or support system that made you believe you were meant for more?
I feel like there's been so many, honestly, throughout my experience. I had so many cheerleaders in my life. When I was in college, when I was getting my associate degree, I went to a community college, and I was given the amazing ability to be a student worker. And I worked in the dean's office, basically like the principal's office at a college. And, I wasn't like shy about the fact that I was in recovery. I shared very openly with just about anyone and everyone, and it was a beautiful thing though, because every time that like something, an opportunity presented itself, like she would be the first one, her and the executive administrative assistant would say, you should do this, and it would push me to do like these really incredible things. And then, people like my predecessor at the organization I'm at now, also same way, would just like put me in a position to be in an opportunity that would, make me grow. Sometimes it was really uncomfortable, right? Because I didn't like want to do it, or, because sometimes like it looked like it manifested itself like speaking in front of 8,000 high school students. That happened to me, in like 2015. They did like this whole big rally thing for high school students in Kentucky, and had me go out on stage and speak to all of them about recovery, and like it was incredible, but also like wow, right? Very nerve-wracking at the same time, but nonetheless, it was a beautiful moment to just be present. So there's just many people, and I think that's what's so important about us as leaders in this space, and just in our community, if we really want to change the world, change systems, we really need to support the people coming behind us and mentor and create spaces for them, create spaces for the next generation, and help to put them in those positions, right? Because, I'm not always going to be here, and I don't always want to be here, right?
Right. We get tired.
Yeah. Like, hey, I want to be able to take a vacation, right? Or, not even that, but just, and also like you want more people with you. I want to stand shoulder to shoulder with people. And I want people to be along my side and not necessarily behind me. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so when I think about leadership and I think about like who supported me, like those people were with me, and pushing me to grow because they saw something in me, but also, right, like they were also leaders in their own spaces. So, and I think that that's what I try to exhibit because I was mentored by them.
Well, yeah, and like you said, I think the biggest thing I've learned in leadership is empowering those around you. Because it's like, if you're doing the work and you're being a leader and you have other people that are looking to you for advice and following you and following what you're doing, obviously you're doing something right.
Right.
So we need to bring these people up and show them, and what we're doing, our work's going to speak for ourselves, and we'll have different platforms and different things,
Absolutely.
to be heard. And we go hard enough, because I know you, like me, that no matter what, we're going to do what we got to do to get through those doors to get the opportunity to do it. So
yeah.
I'm not worried about myself. I need to empower everybody else around me and check my own ego daily and be like, just work hard, be consistent. That's what I've noticed. It's the daily, consistent routines. It's like the minimal things, like I don't feel good. Okay, cool. You're a professional. Suit up and show up to work. Like, I don't feel good days.
Yeah.
So it's, when you got a lot of goals, there's not, I don't feel good days. There's maybe not 100% days, but there's not, I don't feel good
exactly.
days.
There's like, I'm not 100% days.
Yeah. There's a lot of days I'm 60, 70, but I'm still rocking full throttle.
Yes.
I'm trying to put on the front that I'm 100.
Yes. Yeah. My 60% is, it still looks really, really good. So, but sometimes that's how you have to be, especially in, nonprofit, right? Like, because it's a grind, nonprofit work, advocacy work is a grind. It's every day out there, shaking hands, networking, lifting people up, empowering, inspiring. I love it though. I love this work. I would not imagine myself anywhere else ever, because I love and deeply appreciate the movement, because I wouldn't be where I am today, number one, but also because I recognize that there's still so many things that we need to do to ensure that no one else hits the same challenges and barriers that I did. And until we get to that point, I still have a job,
Right.
That was my commitment.
Well, and when you were naming all those like cool like things that you get to do, I'm like, yeah, but we like that, and that's what we're good at. I'm like, that ain't work.
Yeah.
Like, it's awesome when you get to do what you love for
Yes.
a passion for work.
Yeah.
Like, if you would have told me a few years ago when I met you, we'd just be, rocking a podcast in a studio and whatever, because we've leveled up. I'm like, this is awesome, man. Life's good today.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And thanks to our sponsor, NeuroGum, I'm just kidding, but they did send me free samples, so we're trying to lock in NeuroGum. It's got L-theanine. It's only got 40 milligrams of caffeine. It's got all the B vitamins. NeuroGum on those days when you're 60 to 70%, it'll get you together.
Nice. I've already had one. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good. So what did those early days stepping into leadership look like behind the scenes, the chaos, the learning curve, and humbling moments?
Oh, fake it till you make it sometimes, And also, there was a lot of fake it till you make it, just because, you show up nervous, not knowing what you're going to say or do. But also, it was a lot about doing your research, I worked really hard early on in my recovery with young people in recovery, and they don't mind that I name drop them because they still like me, which is great. So I worked I was a volunteer at that organization for a really long time. Back in 2014, we launched a chapter in Louisville, Kentucky, and we were the 12th chapter in the country. The organization itself was in its infancy, so it was teeny tiny. And I was just a little volunteer, And, I literally was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but like, I put on this face of like, I'm a leader and I know what I'm doing. And, I can lead this chapter in Louisville, Kentucky. And I know what I'm saying, not really knowing anything, about advocacy and, going out and writing opinion pieces and going and talking to legislators. Like I had no experience at all. And, of course they didn't know that. And, I went to the first leadership conference and met all these incredible advocates from all over the country. And it was where I found my tribe of people. And something that was a beautiful wave of change, I feel, in my own community in Kentucky, was that at that time in 2014, we didn't really talk openly about recovery. We really shielded our recovery experience from public. I think there was still a lot of shame and stigma associated, right? And I know that, stigma is like the term is so taboo at this point, but there was still a lot of shame associated with substance use and addiction. And when I started talking publicly and really like forecasting that we're here, this is a chapter, we're outspoken, we're visible, and we're going to be visible, and we're going to show up in these very visible spaces in public. And people were really scared. Like I was vilified by a lot of my community for doing this. And I think it scared people because they just didn't know how it was going to land on the general community and the general public. But I also think that it was just a lot of fear because of them and the implication that it could have, right? But I'm also like, it was such a beautiful transformation to see where we are today, right? Because today, like we talk about recovery like it's just an everyday thing. And I still like, it's such a beautiful thing when I hear someone say I'm a person in long-term recovery in a space where I'm like, I don't know you, I've never trained you, and yet like you're using like recovery language. Wait, what? Because there was a point in time when like nobody even knew what that was. Right. So like that was just like all of those things. Just so beautiful.
Well, and sometimes the fake it till you make it, it sounds cliche, but I did that, right? So It's like I start filming videos. I'm like, yo, I'm at this level when really I'm like right here. I'm going to market, I'm going to influence, I'm going to get everybody seeing what I'm doing. I'm going to get a few 100,000 followers, and I'm writing all this stuff down in like my manifestation, my visualization board, and I got nothing. I'm like making videos that look halfway cheesy, but I'm putting them out. Yeah. And then it's like 10,000 videos later, technically you're a professional, and I'm probably fastly approaching that. So it's just putting in the work, man. So it's like, I became a CEO because I opened a business and a clothing company. I didn't know how to be a CEO, right? So I faked it till I make it. Now I know how to be able to be a CEO of a clothing company 4 years later. And it's like you just put out that positive energy and the work ethic and determination. Like you said, people think of people with substance use disorder like on the streets, like doing like horrible things and committing crimes. They don't, think of CEOs with master's degrees meeting with public officials in Frankfurt, advocating for the cause of people in recovery like themselves to give them a shot because they were once in that position. They don't think of it like that. So that's why we recover out loud, so other people know what we're doing.
Absolutely.
And give, our people a voice.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what's something people would never understand about building recovery-focused organizations unless they lived it?
Ooh, you're asking me, this is a tough question.
But a good one.
On the spot, too. Let's see. Okay. So I would say a tough thing about building a recovery-focused organization is the adaptability, because things change in the drop, like in a second. Not just like from an advocacy perspective, but like shifts in like administrations, being able to pivot when something doesn't work, because that happens, right? Yeah. And just because like we fake it till we make it doesn't mean that like everything works out every single time. because it doesn't, and that's okay, right? And I think one of a quote, and I don't know who said it, but something that I heard is that leaders are quick to accept failure and move on, and keep going, right? And people that hold on to those failures and like try to pick them apart, they get stuck in that, right? And so if I fail, right? Like we all fail. That's just a part of learning and growing. And if I fail and when I fail, I say, okay, this didn't work. What's next? Right? Immediately, because I'm not going to stay stuck there. I'm going to say, what didn't work? How can we do better? Because I don't want to stay stuck there. That's staying stuck in the problem. I'm going to get into what it is that I need to do to work on like that issue, right? And I think that's one of the things about working at a recovery-oriented organization, and even like working in a space that's associated with recovery in this space, because everything evolves and changes so quickly. I was literally having this conversation actually about I truly enjoy and love how quickly things can change and we can innovate. So that's a blessing and a curse, because some people in industries, right, like they don't have that ability. Like it's every day, it's the same grind, right? It's the same, you punch a clock 9 to 5. Some people like that, consistency. I like the fact that every day something different, right? Like today I'm here with you in Lexington. We're doing this podcast, which is amazing. Thanks for letting me hang out with you. And tomorrow, I'm going to be back in Louisville. I'm going to be in Henderson on Wednesday, right? Like so, or Thursday. So every day is something different. Where some people like to go to the same place every day. And I think that that's just something that some people have a challenge with. Yeah. So I think that answers your question a little bit.
Yeah. Well, in that leap of faith, right? Like not knowing necessarily day to day what's going to happen, but knowing that you have enough skills that you're going to make it happen.
Yeah.
Is a cool feeling, right? Like I told you
Most
recently,
days.
I had so many irons in the fire. I'm like, I had to drop a few.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yes.
Now I can hopefully do 3 things very good instead of like 6 things half.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you have to learn how to say no to some things too, right? Like you have to know when is your boiling point, because if you take on too much, right, then you can't be effective at, you can't be effective at all things if you have so many things in your hands at the same time.
Well, and like you said, you also as a leader can't be afraid of failure, because it's like Thomas Edison, man, made 10,000 light bulbs that didn't work before he made that light bulb that did work. So pursue your dreams and live life to the fullest, because you can do anything. You just got to believe you can do it and put the work and consistency into making it happen.
Absolutely. So
as your influence grew, did you wrestle with doubt or imposter syndrome? Like, how'd you overcome it? Yeah, I mean, I don't think you ever had any, maybe a little bit in the fake it till you make it space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like every day. I just had it last week. We hosted an incredible recovery summit,
Yes.
It was amazing. Had people from all over the country, like literally experts from all over the country, people that just heard about the event, come from Florida, Texas, Ohio. It was beautiful, and it was there that I was like, wow, we did this, but like 2 days before the day, right, I was like, I don't know how this is going to go, but we're going to go with it. We're just going to, I'm going to be there, and I'm going to show up, and it's going to be great. Because that's what you do. You show up, and you suit up and you show up no matter what. And also like, I am like a detail, like, and when I say detail, I am a detail oriented person. So I will plan things down to a like molecular level, detail oriented person. So we did, and we fully delivered on this summit. I am so proud of like the team at PAR, the committee planning team. We're going to do it again next year. So it turned out so beautiful. But I mean, and that was just a great representation of like the incredible work of everyone together collectively. But like, that is a great example of like, we had no idea, we hoped, because this is our first one, first large conference event. It's around recovery specifically. We also had like public safety, which i.e. law enforcement. And, like that's a tough conversation to have with, recovery spaces sometimes. But we wanted that intersection, right? Because that's important conversations to have, especially right now. Housing also, opioid settlement fund, right? Like all of these different conversations around recovery. How do we have those conversations? And we don't have a dedicated space for that in this state. And even, in this space, really, it's been mainly, harm reduction, risk reduction, which are all very important. I definitely do not want to take away anything, that it's not important to have. But and treatment also, right? Clinical care, very important. But there is not a dedicated space to talk about like recovery support services in the community. And we really wanted to showcase that and why these services are important, and not just for like one specific type of service, but like the many that there are that do exist. And we delivered. But that most definitely was I don't know how this is going to go, but we're just going to do it.
Suiting up and showing up.
Yes.
But having all the different modalities and ways and options to recover, it's like just because you recovered one way or I recovered one way doesn't mean somebody else is going to recover that way. So we got to give them every option on the planet,
Yes, because we don't want, just because something didn't work for me doesn't mean that it won't work for somebody else. And, I don't care, and when... it really, it hurts my heart when I hear people get so boxed in when we talk about pathways of recovery, because we get so confined into our pathway that we forget that like people experience life in very different ways, right? And because people experience life in such different ways, that pathway that's outside of my scope, my little box, my little Zoom box, as I like to say, we create barriers for them. So by you saying that this pathway is the only way, you are actually creating a barrier. You are creating a barrier for somebody else to be able to find access to support that could save their life. And we don't want to do that.
Well, on a national, but even more like an international level, right? So you travel all over the place. Every culture and persona is different everywhere you go. So it's like, you start, saying this is what you got to do. You just alienated 90% that you could have brought in and possibly even showed how you recovered and, be an influence in their life, but you alienated them before it even started.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's like you create barriers and challenges for those people, and we just don't want to do that, especially, in recovery, whether it's through clinical care or if it's through other community services. And especially when you get outside of this country, right? Like the United States, we have a certain like pathway of recovery that is probably the most prevalent. But also like in a lot of other countries, like, there are pathways that don't even exist.
Right.
So, do your research, and I would just say something that I suggest to people is to go and be exposed. If you have never, went to that support group or been to that meeting or that space or that service or, whatever, go experience it. Go try. And then even if it's not for you, knowing that you have been exposed to it and knowing that you have experienced it, then maybe it could be beneficial for somebody else whenever, somebody has went to a treatment center or went to a different program or a pathway meeting and for some reason weren't able to stay engaged. And you can make that as a suggestion. because sometimes people aren't able to stay engaged with certain services because that's just not the thing that works for them. And I think that sometimes is a lot of the challenge, right? We always talk about multiple pathways of recovery, but I think that we don't adapt the paradigm of multiple pathways in recovery. Like, I don't practice just one thing in my recovery, right? Like, I do multiple things to ensure that, like, my health, my physical health, my mental health, and my emotional health, all of those things are, you know, in the best shape that they can be. So why would I not practice that same thing in my recovery experience, right? So, and I think that that's important to say, right? Because that's, you know, also another component.
Get mental, physical, and spiritual well-being.
Yes.
Yeah. If I'm off on one, I notice I'm off the beam on the other ones. If I'm off kilt spiritually, then it's going to affect me mentally, and I'm probably not going to be as motivated physically. If I'm in the zone physically, my mind's running better, so I can be of conscious contact with God and be in the zone more spiritually.
Absolutely.
So it's like, yeah, when I start missing one of those, I notice a huge lag in me as a person. So one accomplishment or breakthrough that still hits you emotionally when you think about it. And my girl's wicked smart. She's got 2 master's degrees. Goodwill Hunting reference.
But it's not even that. So buying my home, that is the thing that hits me, actually, because I was homeless, and I never thought that I would make it to 25 or 24. And I definitely didn't think that I would ever have my own home. So I'm a homeowner today, and I've actually almost paid off my house. So, and you know, I mean, I'm not old, but I'm older. Although I do say that I'm old. You know, but I've almost paid off my home, which is, I mean,
huge.
Killing
it.
Yes.
We started from the bottom, now we're here.
Exactly.
We started from the bottom, we didn't have a home, now we're here.
Yes. So, you know, and I think that's just the thing that's most important to me, you know, is because I have a home forever, you know. I mean, I could sell it if I want. I can do with it whatever I want because I own it, you know. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Thank you.
How do you stay grounded and protect your peace while leading at such a high level?
That looks different every day. How do you?
When I do it right. So for me, I wake up in the morning, hit my knees, pray, do like some kind of like meditation, I was actually recently started going on like prayer walks. So that way, like I'm going out when the sun's just coming up, because it's supposed to be like best for your circadian rhythm and get the, ironically, melatonin that you need to sleep at night and the first thing in the morning, which I never knew. So it's like now I'm learning about the circadian rhythm and just what I got to do. Sometimes like a hippie, if it's like nice out, I'm traveling, I'll go out like barefoot on the sand or the grass and actually ground and discharge all the positive or negative neutrons, electrons, protons out of my body. People think like, but that's real. It's scientifically proven. Look it up. I am not crazy. And I
agree with that.
Do all that, then I'll do like journaling, you know, like what I want to do for the day, my schedule, vision board, you know, like what I'm trying to accomplish, actually write it, like positive affirmations, like I will have $1 million by 2028, whatever it would be. But it's not usually money, it's usually goals. But, and then just, you know, work. Now it consists of running the treatment center with my fiance, doing this podcast and the clothing company, and then, trying to write the book. I'm on chapter 3 of my autobiography, so I'm slowly making a way there. I need to allocate more time for that. And then if I do everything right, you know, make some content, go to the gym, have dinner with Jen. I mean, that's a pretty full day, but then try and do like a nightly inventory and actually like, were you a blessing all day? Who did you say something to you shouldn't have? Do you need to make amends? Do you need to apologize? Kind of evaluate the day. When I actually do all of that from start to finish in a 24-hour period, I'm killing it.
Yes.
Do I hit every check mark all the time? No. But that's a banner day.
I was going to say that's impressive. If you do all that. I'm good to, I definitely go to the gym every day because if I don't, well, not every day, 5 to 6 days a week. Because I'm like bonkers if I don't. I've been going to the gym consistently for like, I don't know, 10, 11 years, something like that. And like, I feel like internally something is wrong if I don't. I think I just like my energy level, maybe, I don't know. But I do that every morning. I also have time with my daughter every morning. That helps to like, that connection. It's very important to me. I also have time when I just pause and take like 5 minutes in the morning when I have nothing, which is really hard, to try to meditate and, focus on yes, and thinking about, building my connection. Which I, have a spirit of the universe personally. I'm more of a spirit connector. And I try to stay connected with people. That's one of the things that I practice just on my day-to-day, I think, is stay connected with people, stay in touch with people. It helps to keep me grounded. And not like in a business way, but in a relationship way. Stay connected in my relationships. Those are important. So.
Yeah, so you made me think of the things that I forgot in the perfect day. So breath work, like
yes.
While walking, like for clarity, when I hit a good week, I'll do 5 days in the gym, but all 7 days I'll hit at least like a minimum 5-mile step goal. So I'm trying to 7 days a week. I'll miss ones here and there, but I think I'm back on like 17 days without missing one. So.
Oh, and get a hobby. If you don't have a hobby, get a hobby. I play beach volleyball personally, but get a hobby if you don't have one. Something that totally disconnects you from your regular activity because that's just for you, whether that's painting or writing or, whatever. For me, it's beach volleyball. I've been playing volleyball for years, and it's a whole separate community that I love, and it has nothing to do with recovery. And I've been playing with these, some of these teams for years, and we're like a family. So, they're like brothers and sisters of mine.
Dude, I just started recently. I think I'm getting addicted to it, pickleball.
Yes.
So when I went to New York, my sister's like, yo, we got to play pickleball. And I'm like, I always thought it was for old people or cheesy. I'm like, I ain't playing pickleball. Like, I'll play racquetball or tennis. I'm not playing pickleball. But now that I'm old and arthritic, it's actually awesome because I'm like, when I'm playing tennis, I'm good at tennis, but my shoulder hurts, my elbow hurts. I'm hit for a week after I play a game of tennis, and now I play pickleball and I have nothing.
Yeah. I've never played tennis, but I've played pickleball, though. I like pickleball. I'm not the greatest at that just because I've only played a couple times. But, it's definitely fun, though. I enjoy it. So I played it a few times, especially on vacation. So, yeah.
And the other thing that I forgot, the last thing, whole foods, like legit fruits, vegetables, like straight from the source, spices to cook with. Salmon for omega-3s, eggs, grass-fed beef. I haven't gone vegan yet. I like protein too much. Yeah. But just whole foods, man.
Yeah. Eating better. And even if it's like progressively better, right? And, and again, full transparency, I'm a very transparent person. Like I am a ex-smoker, right? And like, I didn't just like immediately quit smoking when I came into recovery. Wish I did. Wish that was my story, not my story. I didn't quit smoking until I was probably 5 or 6 years into my recovery. And, it just took that amount of time. And, by the time, that happened, and now I'm like, I don't know how many ever years ex-smoker, but, like that was a piece of it, right? So it's like incremental changes, right? So, anything that you do is just like small little changes. Don't try to change everything overnight, but like those small little things.
Dude, and they know this, right? Like nicotine is the most addictive thing on the planet. I had like
so
4
bad.
years sober before I stopped smoking and vaping. Now, thank God, March will be 3 years since I vaped or did anything like that.
Congratulations.
And at first, I'm years into this thing and I'm like, I don't even want to run because I can't breathe. Like, this is going to suck. And now, like, actually being a few years without it, I'm like, all right, I'm walking 4 miles every day minimum. Speed this thing up. So I'm like, now I'm at the gym and you talk about like stacking goals and doing things simultaneously. I'm like, run 2 of these miles. It'll be half the time. And I'm like, now I can run a 5K, no problem.
I was playing volleyball and smoking, and like people would ask me, how are you playing? I'm like, I don't know. I just do. And now like I can tell a huge difference in my play, but it's just, it's crazy to me. So nicotine is super addicting, and I'm not going to get into all of the health
Yeah.
challenges.
That's its own episode.
Yeah, it is. But again though, right? It's like about, making those small incremental changes.
Right. What do you want people to understand about women in recovery stepping into leadership roles?
It's definitely changed over the years, I'll say. I've recognized lately that there are more women in leadership roles, especially in the recovery space. I've seen more women in the advocacy space than when I first entered. It was very male dominated. So I'm very happy to see that. But that doesn't mean like we don't need our men counterparts or others, right? Like we need to have everyone in this space, right? Like this is an everyone issue, families, people, everyone. And so I'll say that. But I think as a woman in a leadership role, one of the best suggestions that I could give us is to mentor other women, and for it to not be a competition, and recognize that we need to lift each other up and support each other. And it doesn't have to be either or, it can be a both and. Because I think, and that's true in like, especially nonprofit space. Sometimes we, in recovery, I could say that nonprofit and recovery spaces, right? Like we get pit up against each other as organizations because we're like competing for grants. Imagine if, I'm going to throw out one of these brilliant ideas. Imagine if instead of letting grant funders win and competing, like we came together on a grant,
right,
and put in together,
right,
instead of competing, right? So then we all win, right? Like we win, and they are paying us both. So
Well, get a hold of me off air. We'll do something with Fourth Dimension Treatment Center.
yeah.
Speaking of other women in recovery, let's pull up that Fourth Dimension Treatment Center and plug the treatment center. We're doing some good work down in Harlan for women. If you need a place to recover, Fourth Dimension Healing Center, Fourth Dimension Treatment Center, committed to providing nurturing and supportive environment for individuals on their recovery journey. We believe that every person has intrinsic worth and the power to overcome addiction. Our mission is to empower you to break free from the cycle, allowing you to reclaim control over your life. Through compassionate care, we help develop a positive mindset, discover new opportunities, and set a course toward a brighter future, one where you are the captain of your own destiny.
Love it.
Yeah, and we actually have, obviously I'll never break HIPAA or anything, but we got a good client from Louisville right now. They're
Nice.
doing good. And it's just awesome, actually seeing them, like, because, if I'm out there marketing and doing my deal in the clothing or, marketing for New Hope or all these things, I don't get to know clients. Yeah. And it's like now being there full time, I'll see someone come in, fresh, like off of a run for however many years, and actually like a light click, see the, doing something different, have a few months, for the first time maybe ever in their life of, sobriety. And it's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's rewarding. So how do you define success today? Getting all the cool accomplishments to where you're at now, like not titles, but real personal success.
Like as Tara, just Tara?
Yeah. Little hope shot for the women out there.
Yeah. Success to me, I mean, it's just feeling fulfilled. Like I've done right. I made the decision that was for the betterment of like the world. And that's just probably because that's my mindset, right? I guess I'm a global thinker. But if I'm like how I determine success is that, like I am making a change for the better. And whether that's like me in my personal life with my daughter, you know, you want a success? I had a one-on-one meeting with my daughter's teacher, right, to talk about, you know, how well she's doing. She's like 4, right? Like this is, you know, small potatoes. But, you know, she's amazing. I love my daughter. And, you know, we were talking about like where she is and like, you know, letters, numbers, et cetera. And, you know, one of the things that her teacher told me was that, you know, Maddie always makes everyone feel included.
That's awesome.
That is success, because that is what I want to model. And I'm glad that she is modeling that. So that is success.
So doing an awesome job as a mother, as a wife, as a entrepreneur, CEO, leader in the recovery space, seeing other people do what you're doing is awesome, because that means your impact's working.
Yeah. And modeling what I say, you know, like I do what I say I'm going to do. And, you know, like I said, when I make decisions, I make it for the betterment of, you know, the people, and my community. You know, I think about the greater good. And that's my choice, you know.
Nice. So what's a truth about life, recovery, or leadership that took you years to learn the hard way?
A simple one that just popped in my head anyway, was that when it comes to presenting trainings or speaking or anything, like even right now on this podcast, nobody knows that you're going to mess up, because you're the one who's speaking and you're the only one who knows the dialogue, right? So like nobody knows except for you. And that was probably the best advice that I was ever given. Because it made me feel so much like less nervous every time that I stepped out on stage, because I was like, oh, I can always like ad lib, right? Like I can always come up with my own like way to like come up with a way to pivot or to, you know, whatever. So, you know, yeah.
Well, not let alone nobody knows, but it's like, even if they do know,
Yeah.
it makes you human. We're not just like robots on a podcast, just
Right.
crush an hour episode without one mispronounced word. Like, was that AI?
Right.
Yeah, it shows you're human, and, you know, it shows you're real. I mean, all the big podcasters mess up words every program.
Oh, yeah.
I know I do.
Yeah.
So if someone out there listening is starting over with nothing but, you know, maybe a little glimmer of hope, what would you say to them right now? Or that need hope?
I would say stay connected, find your support, find your community, and don't be afraid to try different things.
Everybody has a shot.
Everybody has a shot. Absolutely.
America's land of the comebacks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody loves a comeback story.
Yes.
Everybody loves a second chance.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, thank God, or we wouldn't be here. So for anyone who wants to follow your work, support your mission, get involved, where's the best place to find you? Give them all the plugs, all the socials, emails, websites, all that fun stuff.
Absolutely. So, well, you can find us on our website. That's where all of our information is. If you want to find out about Narcan distribution, if you want to find out about trainings, and that's at peopleadvocatingrecovery.org. And you can also find our policy priorities for the next 2 years, which we just surveyed our community to determine what those are. You can also find us on Facebook, People Advocating Recovery, on Facebook, Instagram. We're also on LinkedIn. We're not on TikTok because we're not that cool yet. But, maybe one day.
Nice. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show, Tara. Always a pleasure to sit down with you, and appreciate all the work you're doing in the recovery space and your partnership and, your hard work and dedication.
Absolutely.
Every guest that I have on, I give them item of GITT apparel to show my appreciation for them coming on. Coop, no, not that one. We got the black one or the blue one for her. Give me one of each. That way, one of them will definitely fit. I got a women's V-neck, and I got a regular one. So
Nice.
Here, boom, my man. See, I love the interactive rolls.
Yes.
It's a game changer.
I love it. Let's see.
So still tagged for you, too.
Yes.
We got the V-neck with the pink
Oh, nice.
hand embroidered, GITT. That's women's size for you.
Perfect.
And then we have another option. We got the blue GITT Apparel Company
Nice.
with the AJ's Clothing Company on the back.
Oh, and this is, okay. I think I want this one. Can I have
Want
this
that
one?
one?
Yeah, I want this one.
Absolutely.
Yes. I like the V-neck. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you.
One more time for posterity. Yes.
Boom. And if you want some of that awesome clothing like she's holding up, go to GITTLIVE.com. We got trucker hats, fitted hats, beanies, workout tank tops, pants, T-shirts, all sorts of sick clothes on the website. If you like motivational, inspirational people like Tara and I, CEOs, entrepreneurs, people with comeback stories, follow, subscribe, and like this channel. Appreciate you.